Imagine spending your entire life building a house for everyone else while yours slowly crumbles behind you. You show up, you give everything, you bend, you stretch, and you shrink. And the painful part is not that people take from you. The painful part is that you let them. Because somewhere deep inside, you were taught that making someone feel disappointed in you is the worst thing you could ever do. But what if that belief has been the very wall standing between you and the life you were meant to live? Marcus grew up in a busy city neighborhood where his father ran a small printing shop. From a young age, Marcus watched his father say yes to every customer, every neighbor, and every distant relative who came asking for favors, discounts, or free work. His father called it community. Marcus called it loyalty. So when Marcus grew up and opened his own small photography studio, he carried that same spirit inside him. He photographed weddings for friends who paid half the agreed price and promised to settle later. He edited portraits for colleagues at midnight because they needed them urgently. He postponed his own creative projects again and again because someone always needed him more. And each time he said yes, he wore it like a badge of honor. But there was a dream Marcus had been carrying silently for 3 years. He wanted to create a solo exhibition, a collection of photographs that captured ordinary people in extraordinary moments of dignity. He had the vision, he had the skill, he even had a small notebook filled with locations and ideas. But every time he tried to begin, something or someone pulled him away. A cousin needed event photos, a church group needed a group portrait, a former classmate needed headshots and could not afford to pay. And Marcus, being Marcus, never said no. The notebook gathered dust. The dream stayed a dream. One winter afternoon, Marcus received a message from a well-known gallery in the city. They were inviting emerging photographers to submit a portfolio for a group exhibition, and the deadline was 8 weeks away. It was exactly the kind of opportunity he had been waiting for. His heart jumped. For one full day, he felt alive with excitement. But then the requests began again. That same evening, a friend called asking Marcus to shoot a last-minute corporate event over the coming weekend. Marcus said yes before he even finished reading the gallery email. And just like that, the excitement faded back into the familiar heaviness of obligation. A week passed, and Marcus had not taken a single photo for himself. One evening, he visited his older brother Elias, a quiet and thoughtful man who had spent years working as a counselor for young people. Marcus sat in Elias's kitchen and told him everything. He told him about the gallery, the notebook, the years of putting himself last, and the feeling that he was slowly disappearing inside his own life. Elias listened without interrupting. When Marcus finished, Elias was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Marcus, let me ask you something. When last did you disappoint someone on purpose because your own life required it?" Marcus stared at the table. He had no answer.
Elias leaned back and spoke slowly. "You were taught that being good means never leaving anyone feeling let down. But nobody taught you that saying yes to everyone is a way of abandoning yourself quietly every single day. The people who get the best of you are not the ones waiting in line for your attention. The best of you is the part you keep locking away in that notebook. And every time you say yes out of guilt or fear, you are telling that part of yourself that it does not matter." Marcus felt those words land somewhere deep and uncomfortable. He had always thought of his availability as generosity, but sitting there in that kitchen, for the first time, he began to wonder if it had actually been fear disguised as kindness. Elias gave him one simple instruction. For the next few weeks, before agreeing to any request, Marcus was to ask himself honestly whether saying yes would cost him something he could not get back. Time he needed for the exhibition. Focus he could not divide. Energy that had already been stretched too thin. If the answer was yes, he was to say, "I am not available for that right now." No long explanation, no guilt-filled apology, just a calm, clear, honest sentence. Marcus drove home that night feeling both terrified and strangely awake. The next morning, his phone buzzed. The colleague who always requested late-night edits sent another message, asking Marcus to retouch an entire event album over the weekend. Marcus typed and deleted his reply 4 times. Then he finally sent it. "I am not available this weekend. I hope you find someone who can help." He put the phone face down and picked up his camera. That weekend was unlike any Marcus had experienced in years. He drove to 3 different locations he had written about in his notebook. He photographed a retired bus driver sitting quietly at a park bench, a young girl braiding her grandmother's hair on a fire escape, and a street vendor carefully arranging his goods before sunrise. Each photo felt like breathing. Each frame felt like reclaiming something that had been slowly taken from him. By Sunday evening, he had more material than he had gathered in the previous 2 years combined. He sat on the floor of his studio, surrounded by printed contact sheets, and felt something he had almost forgotten how to feel. He felt like himself. Over the following weeks, Marcus kept practicing. He told a cousin he could not photograph a birthday party for a reduced rate. He told a church group he was fully booked. Each time, he waited for the world to fall apart. Each time, it did not. Some people were briefly unhappy. Some found someone else, and a small few, the ones who genuinely valued him, respected his honesty and simply worked around his schedule. What surprised Marcus most was not how people reacted on the outside, but how he changed on the inside. His sleep improved. His work sharpened. His mind grew quieter. He began waking up with energy instead of dread. He submitted his portfolio to the gallery with 2 days to spare. It was the truest work he had ever made. 3 months later, Marcus stood in the gallery on opening night, watching strangers stop in front of his photographs. He watched a woman cover her mouth at the image of the grandmother and the girl. He watched an elderly man nod slowly at the picture of the bus driver. Elias stood beside him and said softly, "How does it feel?" Marcus thought about all the years he had spent shrinking himself to keep others comfortable. Then he looked at his work on those walls and said, "It feels like I finally showed up for myself." Elias smiled and replied, "The moment you found the courage to disappoint others, you gave yourself permission to exist fully. That is not selfishness. That is freedom." So, my friend, what dream is sitting in your notebook right now? What part of you has been waiting patiently while everyone else went first? You are allowed to disappoint people. You are allowed to choose yourself. Because the life that is waiting for you on the other side of that one honest word is the life you were always meant to live. Please support by subscribing, like, and comment, because it's a way of encouragement to create more exclusive content like this.